Hey everyone, thank you for welcoming us to another episode of Coffee Talk, my quarantine version of Their Story Told, where I speak with my entrepreneurial friends about their business, how they're thriving and surviving through this pandemic, and a little bit of advice here or two from them to us. I'm here speaking with my friend Doni Brown of Pivot Cosmetics. Thank you so much for being with me today, Doni.
Oh, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And you are from Dallas, Texas. Is that right?
Yes, I am. I'm right here in Dallas.
Awesome. Awesome. Local. You got to support local for sure.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about your company, Pivot Cosmetics, and how it all came about.
Yeah. Pivot is a CBD skincare brand catering to women of color. And I really came up with the idea because I personally had started using CBD a lot. And it was just doing so many great things for me. I saw the benefits of it in skincare. And I also found a lot of benefits from it regarding like pain. I have really bad cycles. And so it
Mm.
was helping me in so many different ways. And I just was like, I have to figure out some kind of brand or some kind of product that I can make with CBD. And there was also like a really big trend happening in the beauty industry with CBD and hemp products and stuff like that. And I just didn't see a lot of brands really catering to women of color. Every time I would see these products, they were just like, I would never see us in the images or anything like that. So I was like, I want to create something, one, where women of color can resonate with it and see themselves. But number two, I wanted to promote wellness and self-care within women of color, because one thing I realized is a lot of us, we go through a lot every single day, but we
Mhm.
do not take care of ourselves very well. And no
True.
one's looking out for us either. No one's trying to say, "Hey, have you taken care of yourself? Have you taken a nap? Have you taken a break? Have you gone
Exactly.
and get a massage every once in a while, to get a facial, do something nice for yourself," but no one,
Totally.
not even ourselves, are making sure that we were taking care of ourselves. So
Yeah.
that's the whole purpose of it, was to empower women of color and give them the right to say that it's okay to, take some self-care time and just love on ourselves a little more. So that's what we do at Pivot. And it's more than just skincare. It's a movement in a way of like, let's take care of ourselves. Let's love on ourselves.
I love that. That's so great. We need more of that. Absolutely, for sure.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about how the CBD. So you said obviously that it helps you personally, and there was something missing in the beauty market for women of color. Tell us a little bit how it helps the skin and what are the benefits of it.
Yeah, so CBD is like really healing, just all around, because our bodies actually really take well to it, whether we take it internally or we just put it on topically. So, what I realized when I was researching, I was like, oh my God, this is so healing. So, one, like if you have eczema or any type of inflammation, whether it be acne, whatever, it really calms it down. It can
Mhm.
really heal it, soothe it, calm it down. It's also highly moisturizing. So if you have dry skin,
Wow.
anything with CBD is going to help you tremendously. Even if you don't have dry skin, a lot of people that have oily skin, their skin is overproducing oil because it feels like it's dry. So you can actually get a lot of benefit from using CBD, because it'll help you balance the moisture levels in your skin so that you can actually stop producing so much oil. It also really great benefits when it comes to evening out the skin tone. So if you have like discoloration or anything like that that you're trying to work on, it really helps that as well. So I was like, this is genius. Like, we have to put this in a product.
Seriously, I never knew any of this. This is amazing.
Yeah, it's really good.
Fantastic. It's kind of like an all-in-one miracle product.
No, seriously, it is. It's amazing.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And so you just launched this. Was it April of this year?
So it was crazy. We did. We were actually supposed to launch in February, but we were having issues getting supplies because of the pandemic. It started overseas, and so we were like having a really hard time getting things going. And then it moved over here, and we were just like, oh my gosh.
That's so, I mean, for you to say that you launched your company during a pandemic, I mean, that says something just about you as a person, first of all. you persevere and you stuck to it. I mean, that's a true
Yeah.
entrepreneur right there, Doni.
Thank you. No, yeah. At a certain point, I was like, okay, I can't keep putting it off because this is not going anywhere. This is like
Uh,
going to be our lives for a minute. And I just noticed that. And then I started studying the behaviors of our customers, or the people that we wanted to be our customers at the time. And
mhm.
I noticed that they were still buying. They were still
Yeah,
okay. A lot of them were still employed. So we were
right.
like, let's just do it. Like, I can't wait anymore. We've been
That's
we've been
true.
developing this for so long.
Exactly. And I guess educate us a little bit about women of color in the beauty industry. What I saw
Yeah.
on your website,
So
you talked a little bit about that.
yeah. I feel like, I mean, and this is pretty obvious because through history, it's just always been a thing of us not being seen as, beautiful or the go-to for anything. Even when I go to drugstores, a lot of times it's like I have a hard time finding things. And one thing people don't realize is like for us, we love to look amazing. We love to, spruce ourselves up, but no one is catering to us, or we're always the afterthought. And
Mhm.
so that is one big reason why there has been a surge in Black women and women of color creating businesses, specifically like beauty brands and hair care brands and fashion brands and all of this stuff that are catering to us over the last 10 years, because we always have that issue of like, one, we don't see ourselves in the magazines, we don't see ourselves in any of the images that these brands are putting out. And then, when we go to the store, we are often overlooked and we're buying 2 and 3 foundations to mix them together to actually get our shade or whatever. So we were just like, let's actually create space for ourselves since no one else is. And I think that
Right.
it's been beautiful to see
Mhm.
how diverse things have become in the beauty industry, but I still think there's a long way to go, because regardless of that, and regardless of the fact that in beauty and in fashion, women of color are the biggest buyers. We spend trillions of dollars, and men don't. White women, all of them, like they don't spend as much as us. We spend so much on beauty products. And so I
Incredible.
was just like, this is insane. Like we should be the main ones you're talking to so you can get our money.
Absolutely. No, for
but
sure. I think
but
it's
yeah.
all about education, because I definitely learned that when I read that on your website, and that was
Yeah.
really eye-opening for me to learn that.
Yeah, we spend a lot of money on beauty products. And so
Right.
it just makes no sense that, we're always overlooked. But I
No.
think it's beautiful, like I said, that we're actually taking a stand and like making sure
Mhm.
that we can see ourselves. But I think also that we need to take it to the next level, because we're having a hard time getting funded as women of color, when it comes to being able to take things to the next level. Like
Mhm.
we can't even a lot of times go to stores and see Black owned businesses on the shelves. Now, of course, people are including us in the shade ranges and stuff like that, and they're making products that work for our hair, but a lot of these brands still aren't Black owned, or even Latina owned or anything like that. And so it's hard for us to actually be able to support our own community and put money back into our own community, because they're not on the shelves. But then to
Right.
scale to that point, you have to have funding. So it's like we
Yeah.
can't even,
Sure, it's a vicious
there's
cycle.
yeah, it's really vicious. And so there just has to be a change eventually where, people start opening up doors and making sure that we have equal opportunities.
Absolutely. Well, and companies like you, and you stepping out and finding this niche, and it's a large niche, obviously, which is fantastic. But more of you will start coming, because people look at you, you're a role model, and I think it's
Yeah, thank you.
fantastic. And especially getting from on a local level,
Mhm.
to start, and then obviously branching out. I think it's just, I commend you for all that you've done, like I said, through the pandemic and sticking to it. And
Mhm.
then just seeing that there's definitely a need out there, and
Yeah.
the CBD, how beneficial it is for your skin. I had
Yes.
no idea. So that's so eye-opening for me to know about. So that's, I mean, I'm really like, I want all of that.
That's what I said when I found out. I was like, "Oh my god, I need to get something with CBD in it."
Absolutely. No, that's for
Yeah.
sure. Let's talk a little bit about the pandemic and what you've been through launching this thing. And
We have pivoted a little bit, and I think that was the whole premise of our name. So, for those that don't know, I actually had a cosmetic brand before this. And so originally I was just going to rename the brand. And then I just decided to scrap it and start this new CBD journey because of how great of an idea it was. But that's where the name came from, pivot, like I was switching gears. And I think that that's a theme in my whole life and career. I'm always, whatever something comes up, I'm really good about switching things up quickly and figuring out a solution. So when this happened, I wasn't necessarily afraid or scared or anything like that. It was just more so like I need to make sure that we're making smart decisions. So that's why we waited a little bit and like observed how people were operating. Cause it kind of hit us at the beginning of March here in the US really hard. And that's when people started losing jobs and, everything kind of hit heavy. And so at that point, I was like, oh, okay, this is not going anywhere. This is going to stay here for a minute. So let me figure out and observe. And then we did that. And we were like, okay, we can launch. This is going to work for us. And we launched. And so everything went well. Like our people have supported us really, really well. I think what made us pivot a bit, though, was when this is like civil rights part 2 this whole thing happened, and that's what kind of made us shift even more. But it wasn't even a hard shift. It was more so like us leaning into our purpose more and leaning into our messaging and the whole reason we started even more, and standing by that, because I felt like we need that more now than ever, is like safe spaces for us to feel happy, because regardless of what's going on, it's extremely stressful. It's been stressful for everyone. And I think especially as, a woman of color, one thing people don't realize is women of color, we take on everyone's issues. We're always the ones out there on the sidelines when any other issues going on, like LGBT, we're right there with you. We're rallying, we're helping you fight the fight. When something else happens with children or, we're always there. We're always organizing. We're always supporting. And so then even with the people in our lives, we are really adamant about taking care of the people in our lives. And then when something happens to us, even just with the 3 people that were being talked about the most in the news, Breonna Taylor, George, and Ahmaud. And George and Ahmaud were talked about the most, and then finally they got to Breonna Taylor. And I think that that's just a big example of how we're always last and we're overlooked and we're the last picks for things. We get paid the least. You know what I mean? And so I think more now than ever, we had to make sure that we stood up and we were like, you know what? We've always seen our Black women and our women of color. We've always, this was the whole point of us making this brand. And so we're going to actually give you the tools and the resources to maintain your mental health. And so we've been doing, different talks with people that can actually provide those tools. So we started a self-care Sunday on IGTV, or we do it live first and then we put it on IGTV. But we did, a mental health talk with a therapist, and she gave some, tips on how we can maintain our mental health right now, because it's kind of hard, and then we also did like a fitness live as well, where we talked about some things that we can do from home to maintain our fitness, but also help our, and all of that good stuff. And we just have more things like that coming. So yeah.
That's fantastic. I mean, you're such a resource, and
Yeah, we're trying.
yeah, no, absolutely. For such a young company, you are, like you said, leaning into it and just taking strides, leaps and bounds to what you want to do, your main goal.
Instead of feeling the need to always make everyone feel like, oh, this is for everyone. I think all playing that idea up of like, we really are trying to make sure we feel seen first. I think that really did help us, because ultimately that made actually everyone come versus not come. Like if that makes sense. Like originally I felt like we had mostly women of color buying our products. And then once all of this started and we said this is who we're really supporting, it felt like we had even more support, because then all of the other people were like, oh, well, we want to support you guys too, you know? So
So,
they were like, that's great, because that's like what we're looking to do right now, is support you guys. And so that just was really beautiful. And I think that just showed how people are really trying to grow. It's hard to see it, you know, because there's so much hate out there, but people really are trying to grow and come together. And I think that's also another thing that I loved, because a lot of times when people create spaces for Black people and people of color, a lot of times it's seen as we're closing other people out. And that's not really what it is. We're just trying to create a space where people can celebrate us, you know, and we can actually uplift and put ourselves on a pedestal and say, hey, we're great too, you know?
oh my gosh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, as a white woman, and hearing you say, going into a cosmetic store, anything like that that has cosmetics on there, and you don't see yourself represented, you don't see, and it's for me growing up, you just kind of take it for granted, thinking like everybody's represented, and they're really
Yes.
not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the light hasn't been shown on,
Right.
so I think what you said is like, um, you're not changing your message at all. You're sticking to your guns in the sense that,
Yeah.
we are, but because of that, people are celebrating you even more and supporting you even more because there is a lot of hate out there, and it's awful what's happening. On the other hand, there's so many incredible people that
Mhm.
once we as a white race get educated on what, women of color and Black people are going through, um, we're there to support, you know
Yeah.
and I think that's just, it's all about education, I think, from
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. And I think that I absolutely love that people are actually realizing that it's just about learning, you know, that's it at the end of the day. Like, you can actually show up for someone the way that they need you to when you actually know, you know, so it's just about learning. That's it. Because this is not my only business. I also do coaching, and I teach other people that have their own brands, you know, because I've learned so much from having multiple brands. So I teach other people how to actually improve their business. And so I've just learned that I overextend myself, and that I just need to simplify things. Simple is better.
No, understand that
uh,
completely.
yeah. And so I'd say that's the biggest lesson I've learned. And that with scaling, it's really important to keep things streamlined so that it can actually, you know, improve and get to the point that you're looking to get it to a lot quicker. Because when there's too many things going on, it's harder to get actually reach that end goal, because you're trying to juggle so much, you know?
Sure. No, that's some great advice. Absolutely. I think a lot of us extends because as entrepreneurs, we're always thinking and saying, oh, no, let's do this. And oh, here's another idea. And it's like, we got to hone ourselves in.
Yes, I always have ideas.
Yeah, I know. It's just like, how do you say no to one idea?
Yeah, especially when it's great, right?
Right? It's very, very difficult. I know. You get really excited about things and it's hard to say, nope, let's focus on the one.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's great. That's exciting. I had no idea that you were a coach as well. That's so, I mean, that
Yeah.
is so helpful in your own business, obviously, but for you to help others, that's
Yeah, and that's my passion. Like, I always say that because people have always come to me for advice, and I think that that's just something I'm naturally good at, is teaching. But business is like my passion, and teaching is my gift. So I feel like if God's given you a gift, you have to use it. You know, that's what you're here to do, is use the gifts that He's given you. So I always make it my mission to incorporate teaching into something that I do. If I, you know, because in the past I haven't always done coaching as a business, but I always have made it my mission to help others and give back the information that I've learned. Because, you know, what good does it do to keep all that in? Like, that does nothing for me.
sure. Exactly. I mean, if that's, like you said, God put you on this planet for a reason. You got to use your gift.
Yeah. Yeah.
And with that being said, supporting you specifically, Donnie, how can we support you in your business? Where can people find you? Website, social media?
Yes. So you can find Pivot at Pivot Cosmetics, and that's on Instagram, Twitter, wherever. And then as far as our website, it's Pivot Cosmetics as well, pivotcosmetics.com. And
Wonderful.
then as far as me, you can find me on Instagram at the Doni Brown. And on my personal page, I talk more about business. But if you just want to have fun and talk about wellness and self-care, go to Pivot.
Great. I love it. Yeah, it sounds like your company is just doing some amazing things. Like I said, for being as young as it is, just out of the gate in April. And I know like you've had your other companies before and your experience, but with the CBD, like you said, it's kind of exploding in other industries and products, but with cosmetics, this is definitely going to be something that's exciting and to see where you go from here. So I can't wait to see
You.
where Pivot does and goes from beyond today. So it's
Thank
exciting.
you so much. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And thank you so much, Doni, for being with me today and joining us on Coffee Talk and just sharing great advice and what's happening in the world today, as well as with your amazing company. And so excited to
Oh,
see, you know, where you go from here, because I know only
thank
great
you.
things.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us, everyone.